The First Million Words, Episode 5, Interlude. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. I realized that I hadn't plugged in my headphones. I don't know.
That would explain why I was sitting here going, Guillermo.
I am a fool. Daddy.
So I figured I'm trying really hard right now to force myself to speak properly. I've doubled up on Claritin, but my tongue is still swelling up because I was out in the field doing some hard yard work today.
You've been out in the fields, have you?
Yeah, I've been pulling a bunch of weeds, and I'm allergic to every type of grass ever. But still, my tongue is swelling up right now, so I'm me even speaking is like taking a very conscious effort for me not to talk and bite my tongue and sound like this, because sometimes I sound like this whenever my tongue gets all swollen like it is.
Let's go back to the science building.
To the science building. So we ended up having a little bit of extra space for our podcast this month. So we're doing a little bit of a roundup of the month, and I think it'll be kind of fun. We'll just talk about what we've learned with our conversations with Brian Thomas Schmidt, and also what we've been doing this month, which for me, I've already mentioned before, is just kind of doing a lot of outlining. And I'm doing that. So May is really going to be my month for just writing hardcore every day.
All right. Yeah, I think this will be successful.
Yeah. Which don't let the quotes about like, oh, if you're a writer or if you want to be an author, you got to write every day. Don't as long as you're out there writing, whenever you can, then you're writing. You're a writer. Don't let anybody tell you different.
Yeah, I mean, if you're busy or unconscious, you don't have to. I mean, if you get a chance and you get the motivation, then why not? Write some. But you don't have to. You don't need to feel like you're a horrible person if you don't write every day.
Yeah, like sometimes I will go like the whole week without actually sitting down in front of the computer and typing out stuff for a story. Sometimes, I work like an overnight security job Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So sometimes I'll just get all my writing for the week done then, and in the meantime, during the week, like Monday through Thursday when I'm not at work, sometimes I'll just, I'll write something down if an idea hits me. But having, a 2-year-old and a pregnant wife, by the way, we're expecting at the end of July.
Oh, congratulations!
Yes, you'll have your little niece pretty soon.
That's gonna be awesome. I can finally teach her like how to make tea, and we can have tea parties with stuffed animals or imaginary friends.
That's great. And I can finally watch My Little Pony's Friendship is Magic and not feel like a total idiot.
Yeah. We'll avoid that topic.
Yeah. Let's just move on to away from the topic of me being a brony to to topics that have more to do with writing. So this month, 3 main topics we covered with Brian were first we did inspiration. Then we did discovery writing or pantsing, and then the one we just did just a little bit ago was future building. And I think all of that, it was a good help. What did you take away from those? I'm gonna let you do a lot of the talking, because if I talk too much more, I'm gonna end up like biting down into my tongue, which is swollen to the size of, I don't know, it's big.
I really like just the tips, like with a future building. I don't really write a lot of science fiction, or anything else for that matter. I write. It's just I know what we said before. It's like don't feel like a horrible person, but I do secretly. Um, but yeah, it just I'm thinking more about where the story is kind of going now.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
is it relevant?
before you go on, with that whole writing every day thing, also don't take what I said and use it as an excuse to not write, because you really should be writing whenever, even if the mood doesn't hit you, like if you're just feeling like, oh, I don't feel like writing today. If you have the time, and you have something that you're working on, just power through it, because if you want to be doing this for a living, you just gotta, you gotta do it even if you don't feel like doing it. Because that's basically what I do every week when I go to work. I don't really want to be there. I'd rather be home hanging out with my kid and my wife.
With your family?
With hanging out with my family. I'd rather be doing that. But you go to work because you have to, and it's something that you have to do. So you as a writer, if you have that story burning in you that you just got to tell, then, tell it even when you feel like you might not be the, best able to tell it at the current moment. Because another thing that we talked a lot about with Brian in our interview, the first interview we did, was editing. And, that's something that even if you feel like, oh man, today, I just wrote, I wrote for 2 hours and I wrote like 1,000 words of really crappy stuff. That can all be fixed. What can't be fixed is you not writing, is you not having done anything. If you don't have anything on the page, then you have nothing to fix, and you have nothing to show for, those 2 hours of time that you could have been writing, but you decided to like play Skyrim or troll the internet,
Yeah, and playing Skyrim does not constitute research. I know this. I know this. Yet my brain still is like, come on, you'll get ideas. I'm like, no, I won't. It's like the only thing it'll make me do is make me go chase after the next dragon shout, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah, it's a long way from Fuzzro Da.
Yeah.
Oh, now I have the Skyrim song stuck in my head.
I'm sorry.
Fuzzro Da.
I'm sorry.
Fuzzro Da. Fuzzro Da. Okay. Anyway, I did the same thing for a long time with when I would be at work, and I'd be thinking, oh, I should be writing right now. There should be words coming out of me and going onto the page, but I'm just going to watch Doctor Who instead, and I'm going to call it research. Even though I've seen this episode and even this season, like at least 7-8 times, I'm just going to watch it again. And it counts as writing. It counts as writing time because I'm feeling inspired.
Expired?
I'm feeling expired, yes.
Yeah, you're just sitting in the fridge waiting for some sleepy person to pour you on the cereal by mistake.
Yeah.
I think is what you're trying to say.
And then think, oh, I've made a terrible mistake.
It's like, these Cheerios taste oddly of cheese.
Oh, boy. Yeah, so that's...
Cheerio. I don't know. I don't really eat Cheerios anymore.
You're not really... You're more of a Lucky Charms guy, aren't you?
Yeah, I know I have to, switch to like, wheat brand with raisins in it, even though I despise everything about that.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, it'll help you live longer. I'm like, life kind of sucks. I don't think I want to. Oh, well, then I'm like, oh, no, I'm just kidding. No, Guillermo, that's the wrong defeatist attitude.
Yeah, and that's another thing. That's actually 2 points right there that you bring up. Is you shouldn't really have that defeatist attitude because, we mentioned a couple weeks ago there were the Hugo nominations that came out, and I think it's the Campbell Award for New Writer. One of the nominees, and we're pulling for you is Mur Lafferty. See, I can't talk tonight. And she at one time did a podcast where she does a show called I Should Be Writing, and it's great. Everybody should listen to it. And she did one podcast where it was just all about feeling like you're a big phony, like you're just a faker, and and stuff. And I wonder if that's changed now that she's up for the Campbell Award. Probably not, because I still hear some authors say, like, I feel like a big fake because, like, some days I just sit around and look at cat videos on the internet all day. And it's like they gave me this advance and I have a deadline.
Well, I think the moment I get an advance is the moment I'm like, oh, I'm for real. Yeah, but or maybe not. Maybe I'm just like okay, how long can I pull off this con?
Yeah. And what was oh shoot, I had a second point. I said that brought up 2 points. What was the other point? What did you say that spawned that?
I do not remember. I suppose we were talking about the Eastern markets,
Was that what we were talking about?
and how we were talking about how how their effect on modern society, and comparing that to not I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm falling asleep. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is kind of one of those nights, and we're recording this a little bit in advance, and we're just going to throw it up at the end of April, which it's not the end of April right now when we're recording it, but we're going to pretend like it is, because Guillermo's getting ready to get on a plane and go up to DC, make that flight
Yes.
from Miami to DC.
Yeah, and it's not very long, but I will be reading as much as I can.
Good.
Because the battery on the Kindle lasts surprisingly a long time.
It does.
Whereas the battery to my laptop dies after about 20 minutes of me writing.
Yeah.
Which works out to I write 2 sentences, and then I stop to think about what I'm going to write, and then it's like, just kidding.
Yeah. So that's nice. You're going up to visit some old friends and see your old stomping grounds, because that's where you're from, is DC.
Yeah, I'm going to
Maryland,
hang out.
DC.
Yes, I'll be hanging out with my friends that some of that I haven't seen for several years, and by several I mean 11.
Yeah. You're going to be hanging out with your family. Gonna have a party. Sorry.
Yeah, it's gonna be like old times, except for the fact that I'm not being chased by bullies like in Neverending Story.
Yeah. That basically was your youth, right? Being chased by bullies up into like some kind of creepy attic, and you read a book and meet a luck dragon.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then the flying, and then I don't know. Atreyu!
And then I remember being a kid and thinking, like, how there's those statues and they're topless.
Yeah,
and I'm like, ooh, that's dirty.
It's like, should I be watching this? I don't know, but I'm not going to stop.
Yeah. And you remember what other movie came out around that time? Or at least that I remember from around that time?
What would
Return to Oz.
What
a creepy movie that I loved.
But yeah, I loved it. I mean, it's just like, but yeah, it's like where, like, since I was a little kid, I was like, I have a crush on Fairuza Balk. I'm like, that is awesome. And that has not gone away.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah.
I know I'm weird, but
it's okay to have a crush on Fairuza Balk.
That's how I roll, yo.
Yeah. Yeah, she was in The Craft. Not a great movie, but she was in it.
Yeah, that's really what counts.
Yes. Oh, and you know what? Also, speaking about movies, I may have just remembered my second point.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
I didn't. I don't know. But I put a blog post up like a few weeks ago, maybe even a couple months ago by this point.
Perhaps he is.
Perhaps he is. Who knows when you're listening to this. But it was about on thenerdeye.net, which is my blog.
Uh-huh.
I hate saying the word blog, by the way. It sounds stupid when I say, so I have a blog and I've been blogging.
Yeah, it sounds like something you do after a long, hard night of drinking.
Yeah. Blog.
It's like, dude, I was up all night just blogging into the toilet.
Which is not a good idea to do. You shouldn't get really, really drunk and then blog. It's a bad idea, because that's on the internet. Everybody could see that.
Yeah, exactly. And then when your grandmother's like, I just figured out how to use this internet thing. I understand. My grandson has a website. What's drinking?
Oh, dear God.
Art. Yeah.
given old ladies heart attacks since
Yeah.
2000 or whenever people started blogging. I don't know. I
No,
just threw out a random year. But
yeah.
anyway, before that digression, I was going to say I put up a little blog, and I've been referencing it all the time now. The movie Birdemic, Shock and Terror.
Yeah.
Did we talk about this yet?
Yeah, we have, but it bears mentioning.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's hard to remember because Guillermo and I, for those of you who don't know, we got together doing this podcasty thing. Because we're related now because I married his sister, and I've known Guillermo a good 10, 12 years just about.
Yeah, yeah.
And we also do a radio show together out of this little station in Miami. And then we decided, we're not really, it's like we have to talk more about like music and like, we have to be radio people on that show. So we can't really talk about our writing because people probably wouldn't listen to it on that format. And we can't interview authors, if we do interviews, it has to be like, with a band or something. So that's how this podcast all came about. What was I saying about this?
I have no idea where you were going. You got to send me a Post-it note or something, because I'm like, I get all into it. I'm like, yeah, and then we can't say the word ass or fart. And it's just, weird.
I remember now. It's I was saying because it gets kind of hard to remember if we've said something already on this show on the First Million Words or if we've referenced it on the radio show. So it's kind of it gets all messed up, and then sometimes I'm like, did we just talk about that like in real life? Without a microphone.
Well, the thing is, I think through the magic of the way these podcasts go out, I think we've talked about it, but we've talked about it in the future.
Oh, like it maybe hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, so it's only through the magic of podcasting or a TARDIS that we will figure this out.
Yeah, but anyway, I'll just go through it quickly then. The movie Birdemic, Shock and Terror. It was a really bad movie. It's probably like the worst movie of all time. But the thing is, it's like somebody made that movie. There was a guy who directed it and wrote it and produced it and shot it, and I think it's the same guy that did all of those things, which is almost never a good sign that it's going to be a good movie. But he basically, he put his heart into it. He really wanted to make a movie that had a message, and it was like a message about, save the environment or the environment's going to turn on you, which is a really, nowadays that's kind of a, really contrived kind of message, like it's been overdone. And if you make a movie on that, if like global warming is like your antagonist, then, your movie's dumb because it's like that's been done before and it's you can't do that subtly. But what I'm trying to say is that this guy put this movie together and all the pieces were there. The movie got made and it was written, shot and all that stuff. But nobody, I think, nobody bothered to tell the guy that the movie sucked.
Well,
I hear your mom talking in the background.
Yeah, it's great. She knows that I'm recording, and yeah, it's her birthday, so she can do it.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're recording this on her birthday. Happy birthday to you.
We had an awesome dinner.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
we went to Outback Steakhouse, and I got the smallest steak, and I can only get halfway through it.
Oh, nice. Well, yeah, that's. Oh, I think that was the second point. Was that you should live as healthily as you can, as healthy as you can, and it actually affects everything else you do. If you're writing, if you're healthy and you're sitting in front of a computer, you don't feel like a sloth because, oh well, I just went on a bike ride, so now I'm going to write 1,000 words. But anyway. Back to the other topic. I might be bouncing around a lot because I took, not only did I take a double dose of Claritin, I took some Benadryl too, so I'm a little out of it.
Dude, so right now you're ripped.
Yes.
Whatever you do, don't look at your hands.
Oh no, I'm doing it. They call them fingers, but I've never seen them fing before. Oh, there they go. But anyway, so either nobody told this guy that Birdemic was a horrible movie, that he made a horrible movie, or he just didn't listen to them. And how we were talking about editing in our very first interview with Brian Thomas Schmidt. The same thing needs to be done for your work. You might have all the pieces together, but it's just put together really bad. And it comes off as sounding really horrible. And it's because you either didn't get it looked at by people, outside of your little circle, or from a professional, or you just didn't take their advice. And that's always a good thing to, because it's hard to self-edit. We were just talking about this, it's in real life. It's hard to get on there and figure out what stuff you've written is crap because you wrote it and you know what you're trying to say.
Yeah. And plus I figure I'm like, all right, I realized that this was a masterpiece as I was writing it. So I'm not going to look back at this. I don't, it's already perfect.
And never assume that something's perfect, but at the same time, you should know when to stop editing and just, send it off. Like I did, I wrote this short story that I've been talking about, and it's, like a fantasy story in, sort of medieval kind of fantasy setting. And it's also like a detective noir type of thing, which I'd never done before. And I just got the inspiration because I watched Dragnet. And I was like, oh, this would make a fun fantasy story. And I wrote it. And it came out to about 6,700 words or so. And then I actually sought out professional editing for it. I went to Saladin Ahmed, who wrote The Throne of the Crescent Moon.
Yeah, which is awesome, by the way.
Which is an amazing book that everybody out there should read.
If we ever have him on, I can't promise that I will not nerd out.
Yeah, I've talked to him, and he said he might be able to get on our show pretty soon, but he apparently is really super busy because he offers this service of editing your manuscript for you. And I'm not going to tell you the prices and everything because I think that constitutes as like advertising, but I paid to have this story edited and looked at by somebody who knows what they're doing. Not just a friend, not just somebody who's an avid reader or whatever. It's somebody who knows what they're doing. And I got I got his edits back, and it was mostly like prose stuff, and I had a few like anachronisms. I always say that the wrong way. Anachronism. So I went and fixed it, and it went down from being about a 6,700 word story to like a 5,500 word story. But there's a bunch of stuff that I took out, and it would have been like a 5,000 word story, but then I had to like make up for it. So it came out to 5,500 because I took away and I added. And now I've submitted it to a magazine, and we'll see what they say about it. So,
well, best of luck with that.
Thank you. And
I believe in you. I believe in you, man.
Well, thank you. And one of the things he said was something I never thought about was that a lot of my dialogue, especially from the villains or bad guys or whatever, sounded too much like Doctor Doom.
Yeah, that's an easy abyss to kind of fall down through.
Yes, it's like, oh, you have defeated me because I was ill prepared. You have won this day, or you give away the whole plan for your every step of your diabolical plan, and then get thwarted by the good guy in the end. But I guess I naturally write that way because I don't have much practice in writing the bad guys,
Yeah, I love writing bad guys.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, but then again, I don't know. I have this trouble writing anything even remotely serious. Like everything I write is all like it's funny in some way, or at least funny to me. Like, yeah, most people who read it are like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. I think you're the only person that sees it and you're like, oh, that's really funny. And I'm like, thank you. So I'm writing this for myself and Ben.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, that's the other thing.
No one else gets it.
Yeah, that's the other thing is I've read your stories, and I'll try to be as objective as I can, and I'll get in there with the red marker, and I'll make changes to prose here and there, like, oh, this is a little awkward, this sentence here, or you should change this around. But I have, I have a hard time because, well, like I said earlier, we've known each other like 10, 12 years, so I get your sense of humor and I get a lot of the references you're making, but somebody on the outside wouldn't. So that's a very valuable thing to do, is have, somebody who's kind of detached from you and knows how to critique, look at your stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, people, there's a million people that are going to tell me why my story sucks. Tell me what I can do to make it better.
Yeah, that's another thing. If you're doing, the workshop, or, the writing group, whatever you want to call it, there's all these things that you have to do. Is you can't just say, oh, I liked this part, or, oh, this part sucked. You have to give reasons. And, if you're a good critiquer, you'll do stuff like that. You won't just say, oh, this is an awkward sentence. You'll say what you can do to fix it.
Right. Otherwise, it's like, yeah, this, this curveball that you're throwing, it's all wrong. Oh, so how do I do it?
I don't know. Just do it different. Yeah. Like that's the wrong way to do it. So, give opinions and give reasons if you're doing critiquing. So, on that note, really quickly, we'll take like 5 minutes or so. Guillermo, how has your writing been this week since the last time we talked?
I haven't written a lot. It's weird. I kind of got a weird little mental block where, well, the thing is, I picture things in my head like a movie, and then I try to translate that into words.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, like, it's, for some reason, this scene isn't coming together in my head the way I want it to really come out. So I've been stuck on it, and then I just kind of realized, I'm like, because I was also kind of worrying about like word counts, and I'm like, okay, I don't need a specific amount of words in each chapter, but this is what I'm aiming for. And at first I thought, okay, there's no way I'm going to get to this word count at the moment that I want this specific chapter to end.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like, okay, now I'm going to have way too many words in this chapter. And then I'm like, why am I worrying about this? I should just do it. I'm going to just do it.
Yeah,
so,
that's what you got to do. Turn off that editor. Don't worry about, word count or anything. Just get the story on the page and then go back and edit it, after, you go through it once and have, your writing group go through it, seek out a professional. Like I said, it's really worth it doing that, by the way.
yeah,
Really good.
I don't know. I don't want to get someone who just won't get what I'm writing. Like, I don't know. It's just, because there's things that are funny to me that, aren't funny to everyone. Very rarely will you find anything that's universally funny, except for farts. But it's, the thing is, I just, like, if you don't get it, okay, I understand, but I would just hope that the person that's reading it also understands that, oh, I just don't get it, and then they can be like, okay, well, you wrote crap, but this is how you fix the writing. Your writing is still crap, but at least it'll be decent crap.
Yeah, which is really what we're doing. It's like the whole title of the show is, it's our first million words. It's all practice. It's all, trying to get better. So I found myself getting better doing this outlining thing, and I'm really, really excited for May to come around so I can just start just knocking out these chapters and getting this book written. So that's what we've been doing this week. So let us know what you've been doing. We're going to close out the show now. Go to fmwpodcast.com and leave some comments on the show notes. Give us some stars on iTunes, leave a comment, leave a review. Follow us on Twitter at FMW Podcast, and we have a Facebook page too. Let me really quickly again tell you our lineup coming up. We have May is all Michael J. Sullivan, and we're going to be talking about character dialogue and exposition. And then May, we have Rachel Aaron, and she's going to be talking to us about word count and also about blogging and world building. And then I can announce now, we at least have a couple other interviews scheduled, and the ones coming up pretty soon are going to be, we have Aliette de Bodard has agreed to come on the show and talk to us, which I'm really excited about, and Dan Wells. So if you know those two authors, I'm very excited to speak to both of them. I can't wait to talk to them. So in the coming months, we'll have those shows up, and you will listen to them and you will like them, right?
And yeah, just if you get it, then great. If not, then still download the podcast, and then you can just delete it right away if you feel like it. That's cool. I'm not gonna judge you, jerk.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, just thank you for listening, and thank you for continuing to listen to our future shows that are not yet posted, unless you've hacked us, in which case you have all of them. But
yeah. So thank you everybody for listening. We'll be back, like I said, next week. It should be around next Thursday. We'll have our first interview with Michael J. Sullivan. And so keep listening. And until then, I am Benjamin J. Love.
And I am Guillermo Rasputin Velez.
Nice. Right.